What's going on, hustlers? Back to you guys with another video today. We've got something very fun planned, and we're back with the 3-camera setup here. So I'm going to be sharing my screen with you guys and then running the dual Canon EOS R8 setup. So we're going to be going over how to get started in government contracting if you have $0 for the products. So my last video I talked about the supplies that you need, but today we're going to be talking about if you have $0 to actually purchase the product. So you guys can follow along with me as I conduct this exercise. So here are the websites that I'm going to be using to do this. So first of which is going to be the DSBS, or the Dynamic Small Business Search, here on the SBA's website. And then you're going to want to have ChatGPT pulled up just for redundancy purposes. I'll explain what I mean. And then you're going to want to have everyspec.com right here. And then you're going to want to have the free cage code search website right here. And then you're going to want to have DIBBS pulled up as well. You're going to want to have the RFQ search tab open. So with that being said, let's start this. All right, so my thought process here, we want to find a manufacturing company that's local to us, has a cage code, already does business with the government, but does not do business with DLA. Oh, and one other thing that I forgot, another website that you want to have pulled up is FPDS, the Federal Procurement Data System. You're also going to want to have that pulled up. So for those of you guys that don't know, I'm based in Florida. So we're going to come down here. We're going to select Florida as our state, and then all these businesses that are in here are already small businesses because it's on the SBA's website, the Small Business Administration. And there's not anything particularly that I'm looking for in terms of certs. I would not pick any of these certifications when you're conducting the search, just because you don't want to narrow it too much. And then general nature of business, I would put manufacturing right here. And then cage code, I'm going to leave that. Now, this is important. You guys want to make sure that they have updated their profile since at least the beginning of the year. The reason for this is we want to make sure that they're active. So if a company is actively updating their SBA profile, then we know that they're looking for contractors to reach out to them or contact them. So the biggest thing here is you want to make sure that these companies are active. So right here it says status active / default, and then you can keep your search result display option at 25. I think that's what I'm going to do. And then you'll just click this button, search here using this criteria. So the mindset here is I want to find a local company that makes something. They've already sold stuff to the government. They have access. There we go, 423 profiles. So there's 423 active businesses in the state of Florida that are manufacturers. And all we want to do here is we want to scroll down and we want to find a company that makes stuff that is, relatively straightforward, right? So personnel, cargo, and parachutes equipment, I probably wouldn't touch that right here. Anchors, fasteners, and bolts, that you could do. I'm just not a big fan of selling bolts because I think it's very saturated. Okay, let's see. LMB North America Inc. So let's just do a little Google search. Let's see, what does LMB North America Inc. do? Let's look at their line card. So it looks like they make fans, which is pretty straightforward. So here's what we're gonna do. This is why we want ChatGPT here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back and we're gonna type in, give me the FSC codes for centrifugal blowers, hyperfans, thin fans, and I believe optifans and optifans. So it looks like 41, these are part of more complex systems, 4130 and 4140 could also include it. So let's see, let's go to products. Well, okay, so it looks like they carry some commercial fan components. So it gave us the FSC code. Now, before we go any further with this, the next thing that we have to do is we have to see, okay, how many solicitations currently exist for this in DIBBS. So let's do 4140 and 4130 really quickly, and let's just see if there's even enough solicitations out here for us to determine whether or not we want to pursue this. Okay, so there's about 1,500 solicitations for those 2 FSC codes that ChatGPT gave us, and it looks like 4130 has a lot. So let's go back and just do 4140 just for shits and giggles, just to see what comes up. So 4140. All right, so about half of the solicitation that we just saw were 4130 and then 4140. So it's a pretty even split. So we see that there's about 700 here for fans. All right, cool. So now we know we found a local company that manufactures this stuff and claims to have commercial off-the-shelf parts. We identified the FSC code for the stuff that we make. We found that product market in DIBBS, and we identified that there is plenty of contract opportunities for this product market. Now, the next thing we have to do is we have to make sure this business isn't already doing business with DIBBS. So now we're going to come here to the Cage Code Search website, and we're going to see what this company's cage code is. So they're in Miami, 7 Victor November Yankee 9. Cool. Now the next thing that we have to do after we've identified their cage code is we have to see how much business they're already doing with the government and if they're doing it with DLA. So we'll conduct our little search here. And then remember, guys, whenever you're using FPDS, it always requires you to double up to conduct the search twice. All right, cool. So it doesn't look like they're doing a bunch of business with DLA. So if we come here and we do date sign, it'll show us the most recent. Yeah, it doesn't look like they do anything with DLA. So they have a cage code, and the last time that they sold something to the government was May 6th of 2024. So yeah, it doesn't look like there's contracting off agency name. There's nothing here that says DLA. So this company's legit. They have a cage code. They've done business with the government, but they haven't done any business with DLA. And we know that they manufacture fans. So the next step here, this is clearly a suitable company. Now we have to find solicitations for the things that they offer specifically, and then let's RFQ them. Now, the way that you approach a company like this is, hey, listen, I'm a federally recognized, government contracting firm. And I do business with the Department of Defense, specifically the Defense Logistics Agency. I've already done all the legwork. I've done market research. I know that the government, or this aspect of the government, is looking to purchase what it is that you guys manufacture. I've already identified some potential solicitations, and I would love the opportunity to make you some money. Would you be so kind as to give me some pricing and availability just for, these fans? And then in my experience when I've done this, usually their pricing is already pretty competitive, but if it's not, you could just send them a screenshot of the procurement history and then just be like, by the way, this is what the government last purchased the material for. This is where you guys are in relation to that. And 2 options. The first of which being I just bid it to win it, and then you guys help me out on the back end with the margins. Or if you want to give me some breathing room, some wiggle room on the front end, I'll go ahead and bid it, and then I'll just take it at that price that you give it to me. But I would let them know. I'd be like, hey, listen, I'm a small business, I'm just starting out. If you can give this to me on net 30 once I win the contract, I will gladly do this for you. And then you're probably going to need to get some references for net 30. So you're probably going to need to identify at least three people if you want to get some references for net 30. And then when you go and you submit your bid in the electronic quote submission form, you're going to want to tell the government, I believe it's 2% 10 days. So you're telling the government you'll give them a 2% discount if they pay you within 10 days. So that's how that conversation is going to go when you do that when you have this conversation with these guys. So let's go look in DIBBS and see if we can identify anything that has Very interesting. Okay, so I was not having any success identifying these specific part numbers just because there's a lot of technical stuff on there. So I decided, I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just throw in their cage code and then see if, these people would by any chance happen to be an approved manufacturer for anything. And turns out they are. So let's just open up this solicitation and look through it really quickly, see what the price point is. And you know that they make it because they're the approved manufacturer. And the unit cost on this is $12,000 and the government needs one of them. You would go ahead and call them. So for it's 12 grand. I don't know what the margin on it is. Let's see if we can search their website and see if anything's going to come up for it. Yeah, so I didn't see anything that came up specifically for that part number, but we do know that they're the approved source. They manufacture, and they don't sell to DLA. So you know that this is sitting there. This is free game for the taking. So again, yeah, the next process would be you come here to the contact us page, you call them, and then you could even be like, hey, listen, you guys are the approved source for this, but there's a whole bunch of other fans specifically, or there's 700 other contract opportunities for fans. Would you guys, be interested in fulfilling these if I'm willing to do the legwork, submit the paperwork, handle all the packaging for you? But yeah, pretty much you would just tell them like, yo, I need to get this on net 30. I'm a new business. Like I don't have $12,000 to send to you, but you guys don't do any business with this aspect of the government. I do. This is my specialty. I'm willing to do it kind of thing. But yeah, that was a fun little exercise. I'm not going to lie. It took me, this version of the video that you're going to see on YouTube isn't going to be like the full version because it literally took me like 30 minutes to record this whole thing because I spent like 10 minutes searching for the company, and then I spent like another 15 minutes searching for like the proper product that they sell. But it can be done. That is the methodology. So, but yeah, to get started finding products, go find a local company, make sure they don't do any business with DLA, but they do business with the federal government. Go plug in their cage code, see if they're an approved source for anything. In this instance, they were, but even if they're not, go plug in the FSC code for the product market that they're in. And in this little example that we did, here's the cage code, LMB North America. This is the company that we had identified. And then we come here, we see, okay, there's one unit of a fan. We look in the procurement history. The last time this was sold was 2 years ago, and the unit cost was 12 grand. So this has got to be at least $15,000 right there. And who knows, you negotiate with them, you get good pricing, and then they're the approved source, so you're getting it straight from the horse's mouth. So yeah, pretty sweet. This was a pretty fun example. I definitely had to work for this one. It took me 30 minutes to find it, but I mean, in the grand scheme of things, if you look at it, it's like 30 minutes for what, $15,000 of gross revenue, and let's say maybe you make 10 to 20% on this. 10% at a minimum, if it's $1,500 for 30 hours of work, that's $3,000 an hour. I think that's a pretty good deal. So yeah, this was a bit of a more technical one, but I hope you guys enjoyed it because I shared my screen with you guys. So yeah, thank you so much if you guys watched all the way until the end, if you enjoyed the process, or maybe you pulled up the same website and you decided to follow along. So with that being said, not only am I looking forward to your success, I'm absolutely sure of it.